The following program is brought to you by the Detox and Treatment Helpline, sponsored by Airtime Media.
Addiction in the United States is now at an all-time high. In this special program, we'll examine this problem honestly and give you a way to begin to get help right now. At any time during this program, you can call the number on your screen to connect with experienced professionals who understand what you're going through. And they've helped many others, people just like you who were struggling with addiction. If we look at the U.S. drug problem, over 100,000 people unnecessarily die every year from a drug overdose. To put this in perspective, that's 273 people a day, 11 people every hour, one person every 5 minutes dying from drug abuse or an overdose. Now, when we turn to alcohol, the numbers are just as alarming. An estimated 100,000 people also die every year from alcohol-related problems. Again, that's 273 people a day, 11 people every hour, one person every 5 minutes dying from alcohol-related problems. Drug and alcohol problems combined are responsible for almost 600 people dying a day, 25 people every hour. That means every time you look at your watch, someone is dying needlessly. And sadly, these numbers are growing every day. If someone you love is hooked on drugs and or alcohol, they're playing Russian roulette with their life and people around them. Or maybe the person who is addicted is you. Remember what Russian roulette is? It's a lethal game of chance in which a player places a single round in a revolver, spins the cylinder, places the muzzle against their head, and pulls the trigger. When you are dealing with an addict in your family, it's like playing a game of Russian roulette. When will you get that call about your loved one? Or if you are the one suffering with the addiction, when you look at this drink, will it be your last? Are these pills the ones that will ultimately take your life? Is the next high really worth dying for? And how would you feel if your actions took someone else's life? Or if things become so hopeless for you that it really doesn't matter? It matters. To those who love you, to those who need you, your life is a precious gift. Don't throw it away. We're about to share some stories of people with severe alcohol and drug problems. We'll hide their identities to protect their privacy. These will be some of the worst stories you've ever seen. We must caution you, some of the details are shocking, but we're doing this to make a point. You need to understand how severe alcohol and drug abuse is in the United States. In Charles Dickens' classic 1843 story, A Christmas Carol, a doomed man gets to see his entire life, his past, his present, and his future. Scrooge changes his life after he sees his own hopeless future. You or a loved one with an addiction can change your life as well. There are treatment options available right now. But to be willing to take advantage of those, you may need to see how an addiction plays out, what the future can hold. And you should know that many of their stories may be similar to that of someone you know, someone you love, or maybe even your own story. We're talking directly to you and to all family members in this program because addiction affects everyone. One mother told us that the family was only as strong as its weakest link, and no matter who that is, a friend, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your mother, your father, or even you, the addiction can destroy the entire family. This is how Carol looked when she was younger. She started experimenting with alcohol at the age of 13. She didn't really want to drink, but she was shy and insecure. The other kids would make fun of her if she didn't join them drinking, so she just gave in. Lonely and depressed at home, she drank to find relief from her depressing life. And the alcohol began to change her. She went out less, lost friends, and became even more lonely. More drinking led to greater anxiety. She became violent and out of control. At age 16, her parents kicked her out of her house. Homeless, living in alleys, she would beg strangers for money so she could buy drinks. Years of abuse had caused irreparable harm to her health. A couple of years later, when they found Carol's body, authorities could not tell whether or not she meant to take her own life through excessive drug use. Her mother would look at pictures of her when she was younger, lamenting that maybe they could have done more if they'd only known what to do. And then there was the story of the Taylors. The Taylors were so proud of their son, Stephen. He was an honor student who loved life and embraced it with enthusiasm. They believe his addiction began at a party, just some kids trying something exciting to see what would happen. They had no idea of the dangers of inhalants. Stephen had been at a friend's house sniffing air freshener. On the way back to school, Stephen just kept blacking out. Finally, he fell down and never got up. By the time they were able to get him to the hospital, it was too late. His parents just marked the 6th anniversary of his death. He was 16. Tragic, wasted lives, cut short due to drug and alcohol abuse. But not all stories end in a place like this. In a moment, we'll share more terrible stories, but these stories have a much better ending because the people in them sought treatment.
Here's an anonymous note. Rest in peace to all the famous people we know about who died from drug and alcohol abuse. Who's next? You? A family member? You can stop this kind of death in its tracks. Call the Drug and Alcohol Detox and Treatment Helpline now for help. If you have insurance, we can put you or a loved one in a program to eliminate the drugs and alcohol in 7 to 30 days. Change your life now. Rest in peace. Every singer or movie star who died from drug or alcohol abuse. An overdose or death from alcohol does not have to be in your life today. Learn how to eliminate drugs and alcohol from your life. Call the Drug and Alcohol Detox and Treatment Helpline now for a free chat with an experienced counselor.
Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline at the number on your screen now, because this could be one of the most important phone calls of your life. Call us right now.
This is how Julie looked at 14, and this is her story.
I don't really know when I started using. Maybe at 10. My older sister was an addict as long as I could remember. Our parents were abusive. My dad was violent. My sister would let me have some of her stuff, I guess just to help me ease the pain. She'd slip me some alcohol. Then she shared the pills for the first time, Percocet, Vicodin, and Downers. I struggled with depression, and my parents' physical and verbal abuse. Maybe that's why I started abusing myself with the drugs, cutting, bulimia, and anorexia. I finally ran away. A girlfriend and her mom, who was an addict, took me in. We would all get high together. I didn't ever have a drug of choice, it was just whatever anybody had, whatever I could get. One night when it really got crazy, I was the only one still awake. I guess I was out of my head. I stole some money to buy more drugs. It was all the crazy stuff, coke, pills, liquid codeine. I guess I passed out in a park. When I woke up, the cops were arresting me. I was sent to juvenile hall. Of course, I failed all of their drug tests. My probation officer told me I needed to get away from all the bad influences where I was living. And I had insurance, so they sent me to a 30-day live-in program offered by one of the centers with the Detox and Treatment Helpline. I didn't really want to go, but the other choice was some scary psychiatric program. Honestly, I was just wishing I could OD on drugs and die. Just get it over with. My counselor, James, had to put up with a lot at first, but he kept telling me he wasn't giving up on me. Nobody had ever said that before. The fact is, nobody had really even cared. That's when I got on my knees and prayed. I got the real sense that even if everyone else had given up on me, God wouldn't. It was like somehow James represented that. The treatment program there was specifically designed for me, and I will absolutely guarantee you that if I had continued using, I would be dead, not sick, not in jail. Dead. Today, I have a new job and a new relationship. He's a recovering addict too. 5 years sober. I still go to meetings, still work with my sponsors, and I sponsor other teens. At 15, I never imagined I could be happy at 18. In fact, I thought I might never see my 18th birthday. But with the help of the Detox and Treatment Helpline partners, I did make it. And I'm here to assure you, you can too.
Tommy came from a good family with lots of love. He had a bright future in college. But parties and alcohol almost destroyed him.
I didn't have my first drink until I got to college. As most young people do, I checked out a party weekend. My first night of partying seemed awesome, and I knew that I needed to find another party the next weekend. The next week became every weekend, and that became every day. When I turned 21, I didn't need parties anymore. I could just go to the store and buy my alcohol. I could drink alone and not have to deal with anyone. There was no one to get offended or rag on me about drinking too much. I lost jobs, houses, cars, and more important things like my dignity and my relationships. I've been homeless, on life support, and in treatment more times than I can count. I could not control my cravings, they were extreme. They led me to drink everything from hand sanitizer to gallons of vodka a day. My body kept telling me that if I didn't get alcohol into my system, I was going to die. My parents were always waiting for the call from the hospital or the police telling them I had overdosed and died. I tried countless times to get sober and couldn't. Nothing worked. But then, I came to one of the Detox and Treatment Helpline centers, and they helped me get clean and sober. It took me 30 days, and I had to go away for a while, but it was worth it. I was able to take time off from work. My insurance did a lot to help pay for the cost of treatment, and I was able to take off all the time I needed from work with the Family Medical Leave Act, and still kept my job. I hate to say it this way, but it was a get clean and sober vacation for me. Now I am a new man. I am proud to say it's now been a year and a half. I'm still sober, but it takes work. It's my everyday priority to not drift back into addiction. Today, I am successful in my job and I have new friends. It's amazing to me that I've been able to save up money, have a career, and set both short and long-term goals. I'm still working to get back the trust of my family, especially my estranged wife and child. And now I am committed to helping others that have problems like me. That's why I like my story being told, with the hopes that I can reach people like you, who are where I was. I am living proof that no matter how bad it seems, and how many times you failed at sobriety, recovery is possible. You don't have to feel like a prisoner of your addiction. The Detox and Treatment Helpline can help you find a solution to your addiction. They never gave up on me, and they changed my life.
Then there was Darius. He grew up in a home where life could get crazy. His mother was addicted to alcohol.
One of my earliest memories is from when I was about 3. Mom was passed out drunk on the couch. I was tugging on her shirt and crying because I was hungry. I sat next to her all night, still hoping that she'd wake up and fix dinner. Life at home could get really crazy. Yelling and police sirens would wake me up. My mom's boyfriend would hit her or hit me for any little thing. I'm not sure if my mom was in denial or just didn't care. As I got older, I mostly hung out on the streets. I started drinking when I was 10. At first it was just because my friends dared me, and it was easy enough to steal a bottle from my mother. But then I liked how drinking helped me forget my awful life. After a while, I got into harder drugs, especially heroin. I dropped out of school. Actually, I dropped out of life. Just after I chewed up, I'd get an amazing rush. I'd be on top of the world. Once the high totally took hold of me, my mind would get slow and fuzzy. It'd feel like I was sinking into the ground. I'd forget if I was asleep or awake, and time just passed me by. I got hooked quick. After a while, I needed my heroin just to get by. Too long without a fix, and I can't even describe it. It's like I was dying in every awful way you could think of, all at once. Pain in all my bones, throwing up, chills, and I couldn't sleep for days. The first time I got busted by the police for buying heroin, I got a short jail sentence and then was back on the street using again. The second time I got busted, the judge decided to put me in a drug treatment program. I was so angry. I didn't want to stop using. I just wanted another fix. When I got out of jail, I decided I'd control my drug use better and stay out of trouble. But there's no such thing as control when it comes to addiction. You just want more and more, and will do all kinds of crazy things to get high again. One day I overdosed and ended up in the hospital. That scared me like nothing had before. I saw that I really didn't have control over my drug use, and if I didn't do something, it could kill me. The social worker at the hospital helped me get into a drug treatment program with the help of the Detox and Treatment Helpline. They were really great and helped handle everything with my insurance company and even my employer, so I could get away from my reckless life for at least 30 days and start over on my road to recovery. These days I live in a home with other guys like me who are just starting to recover from drug addiction. We go to a lot of Narcotics Anonymous meetings and classes that help us figure out how to rebuild our lives without drugs. Even though I used to hate support groups and Narcotics Anonymous meetings, I really get a lot out of them now. I've learned that kids whose parents had addictions are more at risk for addiction when they grow up. Some of it has to do with the genes passed down from parent to child. Some of it has to do with the pain and neglect the child goes through when the parent has a drug problem. Hearing other people's stories helps me understand how my own childhood troubles affect my feelings and my choices in the present. The thing is, when I'm more aware of my feelings, I can make better choices and am more likely to stay sober. I can do things differently than my mother did.
And then there was Ben. Ben never experimented with illegal drugs. His problem was prescription drugs. The addiction slowly took over his life.
I got a prescription for Vicodin when I hurt my back. I was supposed to take 2 pills twice a day, but I was worried that wouldn't be enough, so I took a few more, just to make sure it worked. Vicodin didn't just dull the pain. I really enjoyed how it made me feel. I could relax and worry less about my family and business. I also got really tired. Some days, I had to drag myself around. When my prescription ran out, I got so sick. Even though it was December, I sweated like it was July, and my whole body was in pain, so much worse than my back pain. I was scared. I started going to many different doctors to get more Vicodin prescriptions. I'd lie and say I was in terrible pain, worse than what I actually felt. I needed more and more pills to feel okay, more than one doctor would ever prescribe to me. Then I'd fill the different prescriptions at different drugstores. Sometimes I'd drive for hours to find a store where they didn't know me. My wife was upset because I was ignoring our business, but I didn't want to do anything besides get more Vicodin. Then one day I was at a drugstore with my wife, and the pharmacist said she wouldn't fill my prescription. The computer records showed I had already bought a lot of Vicodin in a short time at several different stores. I was ashamed I got caught. I was embarrassed my wife was there to see it, but I was even more scared of getting sick like I did the last time I ran out of the pills. The pharmacist knew what I was thinking. She told me I might have a problem. If I had been alone, I would have just tried to get another prescription filled somewhere else. But as soon as we got in the car, we heard an ad on the radio for the Detox and Treatment Helpline. My wife pulled out her cell phone and called the number. She told me I couldn't keep going on like this. I was angry, but I couldn't make her hang up. My wife is a tough woman, and she loves me. The experts at the Drug and Treatment Helpline home helped me feel better and helped me stop the cravings for Vicodin. I already feel a little better. I'm less achy, I'm thinking more clearly, and I'm more able to pay attention. I'm no longer running around desperate to get more Vicodin.
All of the people in the stories we have shared so far have one thing in common. They continued on a downward spiral to disaster until they called for help. There's the number on your screen. We'll keep it up for the rest of the program. If you or someone you love is struggling with an addiction, don't wait for the end of the program. Call the number right now. So, what happens when you call the number? The counselors at the Detox and Treatment Helpline know what you are going through. Many of them have been where you are. They will listen to where you are now, check with your insurance provider, and find a way to get you the help you need. Effective treatment addresses all of the patient's needs, not just his or her drug use. Successful addiction treatments will usually have several steps. Detoxification, that's the process by which the body rids itself of a drug. Behavioral counseling, medication used primarily for opioid, tobacco, or alcohol addiction. Evaluation and treatment for co-occurring mental health issues, such as depression and anxiety, as well as follow-ups to prevent a relapse. The one thing you'll notice about all of our facilities is that they are comforting. They are designed to get you away from the stress, distractions, and bad influences in your life that can destroy your recovery. For the program to be effective for you, you really need to get away for 30 days. Ask yourself this question: is getting a new, better life worth 30 days of your time? The answer is yes. A planned approach of care with a tailored treatment program and follow-up options can be critical to success. Treatment usually includes both medical and mental health services as needed. Follow-up care can include community or family-based recovery support systems. There are even life coaching skills so you can better manage your life. Treatment begins with an accurate assessment of the addiction by trained professionals. And treatments are evidence-based. There is not a one-size-fits-all approach, but rather individually designed programs for each addict. In short, the best treatment programs will provide a combination of therapies and other services to meet the needs of each individual patient. But again, it begins with a phone call to get help. Some people may ask, how do I know if I'm addicted? If you can't stop taking a drug, even if you want to, or if the urge to use drugs is too strong to control, even if you know the drug is causing harm, you might be addicted. If you or a loved one are wondering if you have a serious addiction, here are some questions to ask yourself. Do you think about drugs or alcohol a lot? Did you ever try to stop or cut down on your drug or alcohol usage, but couldn't? Have you ever thought you couldn't fit in or have a good time without the use of drugs or alcohol? Do you ever use drugs or alcohol when you get upset or angry at other people? Have you ever used a drug without knowing what it was or what it would do to you? Have you ever taken one drug to get over the effects of another? Have you ever made mistakes at a job or at school because you were using drugs or alcohol? Does the thought of running out of drugs or alcohol really scare you? Have you ever stolen drugs or stolen anything else to pay for drugs? Have you ever been arrested or in the hospital because of your drug or alcohol use? Have you ever overdosed on drugs? Have you passed out from your alcohol consumption? Has using drugs or alcohol hurt your relationships with your friends, coworkers, or your family? If you found yourself saying yes to as many as 3 of these questions, whether you were answering for yourself or a loved one, the problem is serious and the situation is urgent. It's time to make that call. Call the number on the screen right now. In many cases, your private insurance may pay for the cost of the treatment, but you'll never know unless you call the number on your screen now. Maybe you're thinking you'll just quit your drug or alcohol addiction on your own. After all, you're a strong person, right? Just takes a little willpower. You have to understand that addiction is a disease, a brain disease. Think of your brain like a control tower. It sends out signals that affect your actions and your choices. But when you take drugs or drink too much, the chemical signals in your brain actually change. This affects your choices, your actions, and even the way you feel. The part of your brain that allows you to feel pleasure can be changed by drug or alcohol use. Normally, the pleasure center in your brain becomes active when you eat, fall in love, or experience something else you really enjoy. But after a while, the drug or alcohol becomes more important. If you think you, a friend, or a family member might be suffering from an addiction, don't wait until the end of this program. Call us right now. We started our program here, where many addicts' stories end. But your story does not have to end here. Make the phone call that will save a life. Don't put it off. Don't wait. Make the call right now. We have friendly counselors ready to take your call. Make the call now. Don't just let this opportunity for help pass you by. The call is free, the information is free, and we will work with your insurance company. Your insurance may cover the cost of treatment, and we will confirm that for you absolutely free. One single free phone call can change your life for the better. In some cases, we can get you or a loved one into treatment within 24 hours. The addiction won't wait to take your friends, your loved ones, your life. Why should you wait? Don't. Make the call right now. That depends on where you live, but don't worry. We will help you get here. Imagine a life free of addiction, free of the pain, the emotional distress, and the hopelessness. A life free of addiction, a totally new life. Pick up the phone and make the call now. There's hope at the other end of this phone call. You have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. Save a life, either yours or someone you love. Make that call right now. Addiction in the United States is now at an all-time high. Millions have died from drug and alcohol problems. Who's next? You or someone you love? Take a look in the mirror. If you or someone you love can't quit doing drugs or getting trashed on alcohol, you must stop it now. Help is a phone call away. It's time to stop the hurting. It's time to stop the pain. If this is you, people love you. If it's someone you know, you love them. Life is a precious gift. Don't throw it away. Call the Detox and Treatment line now for help. Don't become another Carol. Carol started experimenting with alcohol at the age of 13. She drank to find relief from her depressing life, but more drinking led to more ways to get high and escape. She left home at 16, eventually becoming homeless on the street, begging strangers for money so she could get the next fix. When they found her body, authorities couldn't tell whether her death was a suicide or the result of years of substance abuse. Many addiction stories end in a place like this. Many others end with a new beginning.
I went from sleeping in alleys to running my own company. I went from failure to success.
I never thought I could change, and yet now, I have new relationships with my family, my friends, and they're amazing. All because I chose recovery.
What about you? Will you choose the road of recovery for yourself or your loved one? This phone call could change your life. We promise you. The call is confidential and free, and we will work with your insurance company to help cover the cost of your treatment. In some cases, we can get you or a loved one away from it all and into treatment within 24 hours. Imagine a life free of addiction, free of the pain, the emotional distress, and the hopelessness. There's hope at the other end of this phone call. You have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. Save a life, either yours or someone you love. Make that call right now.
The preceding program was brought to you by the Detox and Treatment Helpline, sponsored by Airtime Media.